proof, living proof. It's pretty safe to say, God give it, God take it away. It's the worldwide American way. I'm living proof.
What's going on, team? Proof here, and today I'm coming at you with the first few test and dust games that I've had, or that I'm going to show. And if you haven't seen my deck video, definitely give that a look before you give this a look. But for this deck, I can't remember the exact trigger lineup. I can't remember if I'd already switched over to 6 crit, 6 draw. But I do know that this doesn't have the Mayhem Tiger in it yet, just to see how the deck would function without it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the first game. And put that times 2 just to make it a little bit faster, so hopefully it's fast enough to where it goes through at a good pace without feeling too overly long. So Fish here is playing muskets just because he also had a couple things he wanted to test as well. And I have a pretty good start in hand. As you can see, I can already potentially ultimate stride out of what's the word? I can already ultimate stride anyhow, but I have to give up the jelly beans to get a grade 2, which is fine because we have a Mecha Trainer to get us another grade stride fodder if we need one. Grab the tier. So of course against muskets they have the capacity to the capacity to rush, especially when you got Sylvia here. So I'm trying to make sure I don't go to too high of damage too soon, because their first stride play just puts massive power on them, and that doesn't help my case. But I did get fortunate with a double trigger here. So since I already had a tier given to me already, I decided just to throw out the other one for pressure purposes. If my goal is to apply pressure on my opponent to be able to, apply pressure when I go into dust, I can finish the game off from there. So I take that, I got fortunate again. And then triggers galore over here. But we have games like that sometimes. So I'll go ahead and pitch the jelly beans to stride. And then I thought about going into Agrius here. And it probably would have been the better option, because I thought about it for a little bit. And then I took it back and went to Marindol, if I remember correctly. And it likely would have been the better scenario to go into Agrius here and use the Mecha Trainer to get me another heal out of my deck, because then I could activate, I can get the 2 craze face up from there. What did I grab? I can't remember. We'll find out together, won't we? I grabbed the PG just to help protect me from their massive columns. So then we take out the Sylvia here, just because why not? Hit a draw trigger, and then I use the Soul Blast to push Bracky to 31,000, put him to 4 damage. So my plan of action here is obviously to survive the turn, and with the idea that I'm going to go into ultimate stride after that. At least that's plan A. But with the way muskets can push a lot of pressure on your opponent, I may have to give up my whole hand to live, and then I have to go into a different option from there. Just because this girl, Favila, and the other girl, I forget her name, they can just put massive power on units, and they can have like 31k plus easily from just the calls and the massive power, and only have the 1 PG in my hand. So that's why I didn't go into Agrius from there. But actually, it probably wouldn't have been that bad, honestly. No, because I won't end up with 1 face-up craze, so forget about that. I believe I took this hit. No, I haven't done to take this yet. I think I used it's tough having so many draw triggers when your crits don't come up. Just having to use multiple cards in hand. So I'll go ahead and give up that last Frog Raider to protect myself. And then I G-guard Cecilia here. Just cause Linus, and I shove in that I shove in Frog Raider to facilitate the 4 circles needed for Linus to get plus 20,000. So that's a handy no pass to his Vanguard. Then I knuckled that one. And then I PG that one, of course, because my hand is hurting. And I give up the other tier just because I already have one in my hand. And Linus doing what he does helps facilitate dust costs as well, because now I have the 2 counterblasts needed, or the 2 soul needed to use tier. So that was a nice little interaction there that I discovered throughout this game. Seems obvious from the outset, but when you're testing stuff, there's just sometimes little unintended interactions that come up. And now I have 3 Krays face up thanks to Linus here, so I can get that nice handy full soul counter charge 3 from tier. So now attack, use my stride skill to call out Great Star into, I think, in front of Frog. Yeah, and then I use Great Star skill to call Laser Blackguard to the other front row side. And then unnecessary heal check, but the power is nice. And now nice 26,000 to his 5,001. And then Blackguard is another 10k guard. He tags back into the deck. And now I have 4 cards left in my hands, which is enough to combo call Blackguard, Blackguard and Great Star back and forth. And if needed, I had 1 more counterblast left to call another charge and rear guard in front of Frog Raider. And I just remembered that he can't call Mayhem Tiger. So to call Mayhem Tiger, you need to have Great Star be your last call with 2 counterblasts remaining. However, you can still call something else here. You call another Great Star here in front of Frog, and it still pokes for 23,000. So that was the first game. I'm gonna load up the second game and I'll be right back. All right, back with the next game here. And this time he brings out Mario's, which is, I think, Maelstrom? Yeah, brings out his Maelstrom deck that he's testing. He likes this, like, nice little fun pet project on the side. So with this hand here, I can very easily grab my Rising Nova off of the placement of Acrobat. And this deck has more liberty of being aggressive, just because achieving Ultimate Stride requires less pieces than achieving Hellheart 8, just because we need a couple less cards in our hand, and it only needs the 2 counterblasts needed. So we can have a little more liberty being more forthcoming, and it's better to do that when it comes to Aqua Force, just because you want to try and get the jump on them before they get the jump on us. We're down a Blackguard, which is fine. And then he gets his Mario search. And in my world, Tile Assault is always something you want to take out no matter what. So I make the means to try to make that more achievable by putting Jelly Beans into the deck and grabbing Monty, just in case, because I plan on going Vanguard into Tile Assault. And if he doesn't remove it from there, then Monty can do the job. And then I get Monty to crit, and perfect number on his Vanguard with minimal guard to use. And of course, at the time I didn't know he had 3 Maelstroms in his hand. So nice fortunate trigger there, cuts off his aggression. And I thought about protecting Monty there, but I thought it was better to not, because I was going to take this hit from his Vanguard anyhow. And then we grab a Great Star, which is handy for us when it comes to the context of this turn, because I figured it would be better to try to push for game here off of Agrius than trying to go for Ultimate Stride play, even though it was possible by using Mecha Trainer to grab Acrobat and then using Acrobat to search out the Rising Nova piece. So I thought full speed ahead aggression on this particular play. Then I use Agrius, and then I have one counter blast left to use Great Star. And if I didn't have Great Star, I could have used Rising Nova's Stride skill to grab a missing piece as well. Use Star to grab Fake Bomber here, because now that's the 26k column, and I can call out another unit, which in this case is going to be Bracky, of course. Then had just enough soul left, I believe, to make Bracky attack for 26,000. And then that's that game. So it kind of shows that if you can't achieve ultimate stride, if you apply enough early pressure, you can still have the means to either finish your opponent off with first stride or one of the other means, notably being Agrius, Bacaro, or Hellheart 8 by virtue of not being able to ultimate stride. So I have one more game left for you guys, and then so I'm gonna pause that and be right back with that. All right, got this last game here. Let's see, I think this is against a guy from my Discord who he's been practicing with I was about to say Aquaforce. He's been practicing with Night Rose lately. So can't remember how early in the process this was for him, but we'll see how this goes. Called out his PG. And then he just forms a column with, what's his name? Grenache? Yeah, Grenache. So I lose my Monty, which would have been a nice handy thing to have for early aggression's sake. And this is where I like having Bracky over Double Dom Chemist, just in case it's my only grade 2 option to ride. I don't want to sit on a 6k. But I use my means to set up for ultimate stride potentially in the future, and then he early guards to get, and he gets another piece necessary into the drop zone, which is handy for him. I'm trying to then call out the other what's his name, the other Negro Rook, because that would have been nice pressure on me particularly. But I get a draw trigger just for some refund sake. And I'm pretty sure I skipped riding here. Yeah. Best move would have been to call out Fake Bomber, but I didn't want to give him 3 counter blasts in case he didn't guard, because I didn't want to activate his Night Rose stride skill, since you want to be on the standard Night Rose, which costs an additional counter blast to use. And they don't have like main phase unflipping that doesn't cost them a call. Rough. So likely I'm going to end up with I'll overguard there to save the PG, because I knew I was about to go into stride, just so I'd have a bigger guard available for later, because there's no guarantee I was going to check a heal here, and I didn't have another jelly beans in my hand. So I'll go Marindal here just in case if I'm able to ultimate stride, I can have the necessary craze needed to do so. And then I thought about attacking Negro Rook here, but I thought against it because I didn't want to give him that ability to call it out for free, even though he could have did it anyway with some of his other stuff. But I thought it was better to put aggression on the Vanguard from there. Then I pass turn, because from my experience with Night Rose, they're kind of like spikes, and that an additional counter blast gives them an additional attack. And with me being at 5 and my hand being kind of tight on protection purposes, I didn't want to give them an additional counter blast to use. I don't know if that's the right play, but I'm just harkening back to my previous experiences with Nitros, and I thought it'd be better to not give him the damage, just because he has what's his face, the little seahorse guy. Here, I can pull it up. Oop, can't pull it up. There we go. He has King Serpent in the drop, so he gets an additional counter charge off of that anyhow. And he also plays this guy, Columbard, to call and get a swing in there. So my entire thought process here is to survive, just because I have Ultimate Stride set up regardless. It kind of sucks that I drew into this other Ryzen Nova for the sakes of trying to protect myself. It would have been much better if it was a PG or something, but you can't control that too much. Excuse me. So he calls out King Serpent here. We were discussing, I was a little confused on Rosette's skill because I haven't played against Nitros too much on CFA since they received the card. But it's good to know it now because there's people at my locals that play Grand Blue, and since these are coming out with set 14, it's better to know it now and figure out gameplay chances around it. So, learning experience for the both of us here. And with Dust here, holding him to 2 damage isn't too awful, just because the resources he put in to achieve this turn, and then Dust being able to deal a damage helps me out in the long course over the course of his particular turn, because then I only have to deal 3 damage instead of 4, which makes it definitely a worthwhile option. So I easily stop that guy with my Silent Joker here. And then he calls out the PG, which confused me because I thought he was gonna call out Negro Rook because it would attack for 16. But Linus here, being amazing, let me hit this with a 3 to pass because I wasn't gonna risk my hand anymore. Grade 3, Cannoneer, and another King Serpent. So now all I have to do is block this with a 5K, which is easy enough for me to do. So now his hand consists of the PG and 3 other cards in his hand, and I'm able to lock off any potential G Guardians from him. So after I have 3 Craze face up, which is why in my deck video I mentioned you're likely going to be going into Marindal first because it gives you that free flip, and that free flip usually is going to be Sea Breeze or whatever other Cray option you have if you don't have Sea Breeze, because when you Marindal with the Cray and then Linus with one of your other Cray G guards, it gives you 3 face up, which is for this situation here a perfect amount to be able to get a full 3 refund off of tier. Which is why I definitely would recommend picking up a Marindal if you're trying to pick up this deck if you don't have one already. And now from here, I'll call out tier behind Vanguard, hit with a nice Soul Blast 2, and then I get my free flip back. And I think I had 3 soul. Actually, no. What I thought about here was, I thought about calling out Schemer to push in the soul to power up one of these 2 guys, which would then enable Bracky. But doing that would only leave me with 2 cards in my hand, and those 2 cards are necessary because one is a Blackguard, which I could have used to call out through Fake Bomber just to help enable continued hit sequencing, which was important to me. So I chose not to go that route. I took some time thinking about it, so we're gonna ponder on it. Past Proof is gonna ponder on the best way to go about this, but I see now that it was better for me not to do that because I wanted to keep the blackguard in my hand, and because I was also missing a great star. So if I hit one on my triple drive, that would have been bad news bears for me. So hopefully I was smart and called out great star. Look at that. Smart. And then I used star skill, gave up Bracky, and called out blackguard here. And they're both charging, so 14 and 14. Nice draw trigger. Gives me another attacking option. And then I pulled another blackguard off of the drive. So I go unboosted here just because it's still 15,000 shield. Tag him out, use his skill, and then I'll call a fake bomber behind Great Star here. Because since both of them add soul, I have 3 soul now. So I can soul countercharge, or soul blast 2, countercharge 1, and then call out blackguard as well. Even though I forgot to unflip the damage here, I believe. Oh, nope, got it. So now I enabled another call off of the tag in between blackguard and Great Star here. Because what I could have done, I could have put him to the bottom, use his skill, counterblast 1, call star. Star could have called blackguard, and then blackguard attacks, and then after that he could have tagged in, used his skill, call out fake bomber again because I have the third or the last blackguard in my hand already, attacked again, call out blackguard, and then blackguard could have called out something else. And this is why, nah, still couldn't call out tiger, I just mentioned that. But I could have called out a 4th unit, likely that black star again, because it's blackguard can only call out grade 1 or a non-grade 2. So the only other charge units I have are Great Star and Fate Bomber. So that's the first part of my showcase here. I have a couple other games currently if you guys want to see those as well, and also plan on testing the deck more so that way I'll accumulate more gameplay over time, and then as I go forth I'm gonna try and hopefully test against more and more meta stuff. I can tell you now the deck it's gonna be hard to achieve this against Chaos just because of the way Chaos works and locking from hand, but hopefully I have means around that with the poker and the way I approach the matchup. So that remains to be seen. I'm a visual learner, so I need that first-hand experience from there, but that's for future proof. So that'll do it for me. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace, be easy.